Hello, educators! By the end of this video, you will understand the general information that you need to know in order to pass your RICA Subtest number 2. To read the full blog post or check out any of the resources presented in this video, click the links in the description below or simply visit www.ricatest.com, the official test prep site for the RICA test. The RICA Subtest 2 structure is broken into two domains, which include Domain 4, that covers vocabulary, academic language, and background knowledge, as well as Domain 5, which covers comprehension. Between the two domains, there are 6 competencies. Subtest 2 includes approximately 35 multiple-choice questions, as well as 2 constructed response questions, one coming from Domain 4 and the other one coming from Domain 5. The constructed response question covering Domain 4, which is vocabulary, academic knowledge, and background knowledge, requires a 75 to 125 word response, and the constructed response question that covers Domain 5, which is comprehension, requires a 150 to 300 word written response. Each multiple choice question is designed with 4 possible answers per question, and it's important to note that most often there are 2 sound solutions, but it's your job to select the best possible answer. Remember that there's no penalty for guessing, so give each problem your best shot. Lastly, make sure to read the entire problem quickly yet thoroughly. The typical essay problem includes a description of a child's reading strength and/or need, along with supplementary information, and asks the test taker, you, to discuss, describe, analyze, explain, or evaluate the child's reading ability and craft a solution based on the information given to help the student become a stronger reader. The best strategy to prepare for the constructed response questions for all of the RICA subtests, including Subtest 3 where you'll face the case study, is to be able to identify the student's reading need presented in the problem and select the appropriate instructional strategy. In our online and self-paced RICA test course, which I'll further introduce shortly, we call this the If This Need, Use This Instructional Strategy method, which I will show you an example in the slides coming up. Critical to your success in writing a passing response is understanding how to define the need, so what it is, how to teach for the need, so using the right instructional strategy, and how to assess for the reading need in order to test if the instructional strategy used was successful in teaching that student or group of students the new reading skill. And then also knowing how to differentiate instruction to meet the needs of all of your learners, such as your struggling readers, English learners, as well as advanced learners. Scoring of the multiple choice section is calculated electronically, whereas a trained person judges the overall effectiveness of your response based on RICA content specifications for the constructed response questions. Now let's have a look at the type of information you'll have to know about each of the 6 competencies covered in the RICA subtest number 2. To do this, we have taken actual slides from our online and self-paced RICA course, which is the best way to learn the material to pass your test. If you're interested in learning more, find the description below and click the appropriate link that best suits you, or simply visit www.ricatest.com to view all of our informational posts as well as our RICA test prep resources. Now, here we are at the cover page for Domain 4, Vocabulary, which in total covers not only vocabulary but also academic language and background knowledge. It's important to remember that in order to pass your RICA test, you will need to know what it is, how to teach it, how to assess it, and how to differentiate your lesson to meet the needs of all of your learners for all 6 competencies. And in this video, we're going to zoom in and focus on the competency of vocabulary, but again, you'll want to know this for all 6 competencies. This is a preview to help you better understand what our online self-paced course looks like. Here we are with the definition of vocabulary. As you can see, vocabulary is a set of words that the student is able to correctly understand and employ. Having a good vocabulary set helps swift and accurate word recognition, which improves reading fluency and is an essential component of reading comprehension. Next, and most importantly for your passing score on the RICA test, is the instructional strategy to teach vocabulary. What I really like about our online course is that we directly and explicitly give you the instructional strategy in a simple to read and easy to learn format, so you don't have to read a book and figure out which instructional strategy to use. Furthermore, our course not only gives you the information or instructional strategy for this case, but provides you with the step-by-step instruction that if you receive a constructor response question about vocabulary, for example, on your RICA test, you will have the exact blueprint to replicate in your own words for your own test. The RICA exam will test your ability to meet the needs of all learners, and you'll need to be prepared to demonstrate your understanding to provide effective reading instruction for struggling readers, English learners, as well as advanced learners. Let's take a moment and go over how to differentiate instruction to meet the needs of all of your students for a vocabulary lesson. Let's begin with our struggling readers. At first, you're going to want to focus on key vocabulary as well as non-technical academic language. If you're unaware, non-technical academic language includes words like theory and hypothesis. These words are called non-technical academic language because they can be used with a number of domains. For example, whether you're in social studies or science or history, we can use these words often. However, words like tyranny or monarchy, we really only use in social studies or history. Those would be considered technical academic language. But let's continue. You also want to reteach what's not yet mastered for the student. Provide them with concrete examples. Use visual, kinesthetic, and tactile examples. For our English learners, you're going to want to use the transfer of their first language, which is called cognates, as well as provide concrete examples. And lastly, for our advanced learners, increase the pace of instruction, use more advanced texts, and extend the assignments. So far, we've covered what it is, the definition, how to teach it, the instructional strategy, as well as how to differentiate the needs for all learners. Next, let's go on to the assessment. In order to properly assess your students' vocabulary understanding, the RICA content specifications instruct us to use a standardized test, where the target word appears in a phrase, which means it's in context, and the definitions also appear in a phrase for the answers. Now, if you would like to assess vocabulary in a test format, then the teacher will select the commercially published standardized test. However, if you would like to assess vocabulary in context, that's when a teacher selects target words and assigns an in-class writing assignment, where the students are required to use the target words. The teacher can then check if the students use the word correctly, for example, in their student journals or writer's workshop journals. Everyone, there is so much to learn for the RICA test. Just speaking about RICA Subtest number 2 in particular, there are 2 domains and 6 competencies. But if you're ready, pick up a copy of our RICA Test study guide, which is the best way to assess your understanding of the RICA test material. It includes practice questions to quiz yourself, as well as an answer key to check your answers. These are sold as digital downloads on our site at ricatest.com, where you'll receive instant access upon purchasing it. However, if you still need to pass all 3 RICA subtests, we highly recommend that you save money and time by starting with our official RICA Test study guide, which includes subtests 1, 2, and 3 all together. Yet, if you don't feel totally confident yet about the RICA material itself, take our online self-paced RICA test course, which is the best way to learn the material that you'll need in order to pass the RICA test. So to clarify, the difference between our online course and our online study guide is that the online course is the best way to learn the material that you need in order to pass the RICA test. On the other hand, our study guide is the best way for you to assess your understanding of the RICA test material. Using the study guides as well as the answer key, you can assess whether or not you're ready to take the test. However, our best, most complete, and most discounted offering is our bundle package that is a combination of the entire RICA test study guide for subtests 1, 2, and 3, as well as our full online course. As we say, there's nothing worse than getting your test result email, opening it up, and finding out that you need to restart your entire study process all over again. So go ahead, get this bundle, nail out your RICA test on the first try. Again, the links to the materials mentioned in this video are all linked in the description below. All of our resources and informational posts can also be found at www.ricatest.com.